Last week on Inside Georgia Basketball with head coach Mark Fox.
You know, we really try and push them through after a day off just to get ourselves back in a rhythm. And part of it's your body, the other part's your mind. We got it, whatever.
All right, that's great.
We like our team. I think we've got an element of experience back that I like. We do have some guys to replace. I thought if we'd have stayed healthy last year, we could have made a great run. We just never were.
I got one more. Where's Brandon Young? Brandon Young. And Brandon, just in the front row right there. They're Yonta. They can see over here. I wasn't going to make any short jokes about Brandon. He grew up in a family that loves the University of Georgia. He grew up, much like Houston, bleeding red and black. He really did. But what I love about BY, and I think our players would say the same thing, is Brandon Young epitomizes everything that a Georgia Bulldog should be. Because of all that, BY, I think we should give you a scholarship tonight.
You're watching Inside Georgia Basketball with head coach Mark Fox.
This segment of Inside Georgia Basketball is brought to you by AT&T.
I think any strength coach is going to tell you the same principles. You want to keep everybody healthy. That's your main goal, to keep guys healthy. You don't want to train dysfunction. We want to make sure these guys are preparing themselves to be successful throughout the year, not just a short period of time. The biggest thing with these young guys is a lot of them have never lifted before. So you've really got to have them come in. We do a movement assessment with each guy, and we figure out how they move, where the deficiencies are, myself and Ezra on the trainer, and figure out how guys move and what they need. Young guys usually need a lot of mobility work and a lot of strength work before really we get to anything else, and really kind of break down each movement. It's definitely a different situation. We haven't had a lot of young guys in a few years. Last year was 2 with a pretty big veteran group. So this year definitely was a different approach. When they first get on campus with the young guys, even the old guys, coming off such a long season in the spring, and the longer you play, the less time you have in the spring. So we're kind of resetting the guys, doing a ton of mobility work, a ton of core work, a ton of basic strength movements to get our guys back going again, to kind of reset the system to help their bodies accept what's about to happen. And if we don't make sure that these guys are prepared and healthy and moving well to progress into loaded situations, if we don't take our time the first 4 to 8 weeks they're here to make sure they're moving well and getting ready to go, then we're just going to end up training dysfunction. That's not what we want to do. We do agilities 2-3 days a week from there, and not a heck of a lot of conditioning. We use a lot of agilities, fast-paced agilities as our conditioning. We do a lot of prowler sled pushes outside on Fridays and stuff like that, but we save the heavy conditioning until the fall. You can't have, to quote-unquote, this tool bag that has 1,000 different things in it if you can't do one thing right. So we really want to focus on, 5 or 6 things that we're going to really focus on as our core work, our main, foundation of our program, our big rocks in our lifting program, and make sure we do those really well. We want to squat well. We want to have work on our hang clean. We want to be really good on our single leg strength. You know, the game of basketball is one foot after another, balance, stabilization. So we want to make sure we're training the joints and training the body the way it needs to be trained. You know, keep that ankle mobile, stabilize that knee, keep that hip mobile, you know, stabilize that core, that lumbar spine, and so on. And we focus on those principles. Strength training and movement prep and make sure guys are functioning well is the main key. If you guys aren't healthy and you guys have overuse injuries early on in the season, then you've probably your goals might not be in the place they need to be. So definitely injury prevention. Two is increasing their athletic performance. You know, they're all great athletes. They're all high-level basketball players, but we can all become better athletes. You know, coaches are going to sit with them. They're going to have their individual meetings. They're going to have individual practice with these guys and make them better basketball players. Work on their shooting, work on their dribbling, work on their handling. That's the same concept down in the weight room. You know, it's repetition after repetition. Sometimes it's like practicing your free throws. It's not always fun. Sometimes it can be a little bit repetitive, but we have to master these movements to become successful.
Coming up next, a behind-the-scenes look at the video board shoot.
That was great. All right. You don't want me doing that again. You don't know
Maybe
where it's going.
don't like bend down so much.
Right here. Straight into the camera.
Right here. Make some noise, dog fans. Get up.
Whatever you want to do. All right, come here, ready? I'm ready.
Well, the one thing about our schedule is there's no easy games. So we're going to have to be ready to play every night, and ultimately that will give us the strength of schedule numbers that we want. But it also means that you have very small margin for error, and you have to be ready to go every night.
You know, just want to go out, play hard, want to play well in front of a crowd. You know, last chance to start it all over again, so just want to come out and be successful in the first game.
Yeah, obviously Chattanooga with a new coach, a new system, but you know, a team that returns a lot of players, and they're older and they're experienced and they're deep, and I think probably a team that's excited just as much as we are for the season to start.
I'm so excited, a little nervous, a little bit afraid, but I'm excited more than anything. Just go out here and play for Athens, especially like you said, being a hometown kid, just to be here and do something different.
developing a new brotherhood when teams have more of a brotherhood type feel than they play for each other, not necessarily just for the coach or just for themselves. You kind of play for each other as a team, and I feel like more teams have success when they get a chance to build that bond. And so, just wanted to build that bond even more with my teammates now, and just looking forward to seeing what we can do, at the end of the season.
Our team's excited to play. I think we're excited for our season. Obviously, there's a lot of games, but you got to focus on the next one. And so hopefully that's what our team is doing. Chattanooga has a good basketball team, and we're going to need to be ready to play.
Coming up next, highlights of the Dogs facing one of the toughest early season schedules in the country.
And down in this opener tonight, preseason first-team All-SEC selections Charles Mann and Kenny Gaines lead Georgia tonight as the Bulldogs raise the flag on another season. And our countdown to the opening tip begins right now. Georgia looks for its first win of the new season tonight in the second of 9 non-conference home games for the Bulldogs. Chelsea down low to Kessler, catches it under the basket, reverse lay-in is good, and a foul. Count the basket for Houston, and he'll go to the line for a three-point opportunity. Direction. Here's Frazier for a three. Gets his first basket of the game.
Yeah, you just want him to keep shooting now.
Here comes the three ball from the left corner. Gaines with a three.
Wow.
Knocks it down from the wing. 28 points, a career high for Kenny Gaines. Clock ticks down to 0. That's the final. Dogs win 63-52. Pick up their first victory of the season and a career night for Kenny Gaines with 35 whopping points. No other Bulldog even reached double. Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to the Georgia Bulldogs basketball matchup tonight. We are here at State and Coliseum in Athens, where the 1-1 Bulldogs will host the 3-1 High Point Panthers. To go inside to one of their guards. Weary got rejected under the basket. Dogs take it away. Goes to Wilrich. He's going to come in from the right wing down the lane. They left it open. He just flipped it up with the right hand.
The Dogs travel to New Jersey to face the Seton Hall Pirates and get strong performances.
Difficult non-conference challenge for the Georgia Bulldogs tonight. It's the Georgia Bulldogs and the Oakland Golden Grizzlies coming from State and Coliseum. Lay it up. Yante may have gotten a piece of it. Dogs knock it away. Run the other way. Here's an alley-oop. Edwards and a slam dunk with two hands. Into the backcourt to Edwards, who's going to dunk it on the other end. He picked it up on the bounce and just took it to the rim and flushed it. 2 to go, forces up a three, misses it at the horn. Dogs rebound and win the ball game. Winthrop walking back towards their bench, and the game is going to end right now, and Georgia is a winner tonight, 74-64. Winthrop gave us a pretty tough time here in the second half, Chuck, but the Dogs able to give them the stiff arm and salvage a win tonight, winning it by 10, 74-64 for their fourth victory of the season.
Stay tuned. Comments coming up from the players and the coach after that win over Winthrop. You're watching Inside Georgia Basketball with head coach Mark Fox.
How much of that, rebounding was an emphasis in practice over the weekend?
It's always an emphasis. Control the glass as much as we can and do the best we can on the glass, and that's what we did tonight.
It's a team effort. I mean, a lot of the players, Yante and JJ, they played a lot of minutes. So, Yante is not a sophomore. He's a junior. He's an older guy. And, we don't play through him, and just try to help him, get going, try to find our spots, and, just try to help the team win.
Is Yante showing you more and more each game in terms of maybe more tools in his offensive arsenal, or is this about what you've seen? We're just getting sort of more of it because he's playing so much more?
Well, he's a better player than he was a year ago. He has really developed, and he worked extremely hard, and he's very coachable. He has a good night statistically, and I think he could be even so much better. But it's nice to have a guy that you can throw it into and get production, and it's even better when they're just a sophomore, But he's off to a good start, and because he's really approaches the game the right way every day.
Some nights I feel like my hook is better than my mid-range. Sometimes I feel like my mid-range is better than my hooks, and so whichever night usually that is, that's what I usually go with. I test out the waters to see how they are.
They enjoy playing together, and tonight I thought we tried to help each other, and it's one of the things we talked about, was trying to make each other better, and I thought tonight we did a pretty good job of that.
Next week on Inside Georgia Basketball.
Frazier. There's another one. 22 points, one off his season high.
When you're shooting and you are on fire, it doesn't even matter.
I wanted this one. This game was very important to us. So from the jump, I just wanted to be that emotional leader to let our guys understand, for 40 minutes, we got to play hard, play together, and that's what we did.